Chamabad, and welcome to the very first video where I'll be answering the most frequently asked questions on this channel and just in general to me. Okay, so the agenda of this video is gonna be something like this. So first, I'm going to be talking about stuff, or I'm going to be answering questions that are subject related, stuff like about certain technologies like bubble, and also I'll be talking about other technologies like Fungible and Unity and stuff like that. And then I'll proceed to talking a little bit about the channel and how it's been functioning and how I intend to move this entire channel forward. And then I'll also be talking a little bit about myself, and so that we can get to know each other. This is the very first Q&A session, so there's a lot of questions I want to answer. So this is like the template I intend to follow. However, there are going to be references to different parts of the video. So yeah, without any further ado, let's go ahead and jump into the first question. So these are going to be the first set of questions are going to be for those people who are following my bubble videos. Again, if you don't know what bubble is, or if you're not from those side of things, what I request you is to like jump a lot. Like you can forward this video to a few minutes, I guess, because I'm gonna answer the biggest chunk of my subscriber questions. Okay, so I guess because my YouTube I believe, at least based on the data that I have, at least based on the kind of questions that I receive every day, most amount of my value has been provided, I believe, is I believe to the Unity developer community and to the Bubble developer community. So I want to address these two technologies a little more than the other sides. However, yeah. So the first question is, how can I make a mobile app for my Bubble project? Now, of course, I have rephrased all of your questions and trying to make it something a little simpler. Like I have not coded your questions. I apologize for that because I'm trying to address the questions that are kind of repeated. So, basically, the answer to that question is something that I've already answered in my previous video, called Webflow versus Bubble. And the answer to that question was that please don't use Bubble to develop a mobile app, because although technically you can, and let me tell you how it works currently is that you have to like create a page on Bubble like for your web project, and then you have to redevelop the entire like your whole project in a single page by like making a single group visible, and then toggling that to invisible depending on the user selection or interaction. And then that's like a weird way, but again, it's possible, but still it's really difficult. And it's something like you have to create like a mobile website, and then you actually have to send that over to Bubble team. And what Bubble Team will do is they will compile that into a native app and send it back to you, that you can then submit onto the App Store and Play Store. Now, the reason I do not encourage people to use Bubble app for developing a native app is because Bubble is a tool that is used primarily to develop web-based applications. Okay, and I believe what they do is they basically they put your web application onto a web viewer or a web component on the app, and they send it back to you. So basically, your app that Bubble will send you is essentially a web browser with your website as the home page, without any of the back buttons or the navigation controls. That basically will look like a native app, but the problem is, well, Apple does not accept those kinds of applications. Well, Android, I don't know, because the procedure to submit an application in either of these stores, like Apple Store or the Play Store, is not as simple as submitting a video to YouTube. It's not like you can just enter a bunch of information, upload a single binary file, and that application goes onto the App Store. No, it does not work like that. there is a long procedure like creating a license, validating versions, and then the Apple team there approves your build. Like every single version is moderated and is being approved or disapproved, and then after a lot of these license agreements and all of these ratings and everything, only then will their application make it to the app store, and users will simply click on one button to download an application, and for them they get the application. But for a developer it is a long process. So um, basically Apple reviews your applications, and what Apple says is that you cannot use a web-based application as a native app on our app stores. And the reason for that is they say that if your application was only powered by web, why don't you just give the web URL and that will be sufficient? Why are you actually creating an app in that case? You could just create a mobile.facebook.com or whatever app is on your website and just host it. Why do you want to create an app for that? If you want to create an app, you have to use the native controls, and that's what Apple says. So right now, Bubble is not the right tool to use. So it's not like I'm trying to make it sound like you can do this stuff. There are other tools that you can use. Now, one of the things that I recommend people is anybody who comes from this side of things. Like I've had a lot of people asking me this question, and what I say to them is, you can develop the web version on Bubble, and what you can do is if you want to create a native app for it, like you don't have to design the backend and everything. Like you design the how the functionality of the app works, you already have that, but you have to design the front end or the UI of the application using the native development tools. Like for Apple, it is Xcode, and for Android, it is Android Studio, and you need to code the UI. And as for the functionality, Bubble will give you something called a REST API. It's an application programming interface, and what you can do is you can simply plug your interactions with the endpoints in the API, and that is a lot cheaper and a lot faster for a developer to do, as opposed to completely developing the application from scratch. So maybe in that way Bubble is going to be helpful. But what I recommend a lot of people, if you want to create a mobile app, is I request you to go check out a new tool called Glide app. And I've been making videos on this ever recently, like last two videos or three, four videos are about Glide. I highly recommend you to go watch it, because although it is not completely reminiscent of Bubble, or I won't say it's a mobile version of Bubble, but I would say it's extremely powerful. You can create some great stuff with Glide. So go check out Glide. It's pretty um, powerful. You can create some great applications using just micro. I mean, you can just create an application using a spreadsheet as the backend of an application. I mean, that's just ridiculous. Okay. So I want to go to the next question, which is something that I've been requesting, and it's a part of or continuation of the same question. Is how do I submit this app? Now, this question has also been asked on Thunkable tutorials, but this is more often on the Bubble side. So, like I said, I would highly recommend you to not use Bubble. Either go ahead and use tools like Glide apps, like to straight up make a new application by itself, or you can make the web version and then give it to a developer, and then they will actually create the mobile app for you, and then they will give it to you. Because again, creating a mobile version is just so much of a pain in the ass, especially with Bubble. There is also something called drop source, and it's also kind of relevant to this. Is that drop source has a guide on how to connect your drop source application to your Bubble application. So chances are, if you're googling for how to create a mobile app for Bubble, you might have seen drop source. Now, drop source is something I don't recommend to a lot of my viewers, because essentially drop source is it's just like a visual coding version of Xcode. I would even recommend you guys to go ahead and learn code rather than to use drop source, because drop source is just as complicated as code. And I don't know, I don't like drop source as much because it's just so complicated. Okay, I'm not saying it's complicated. Like when I say it's complicated, I think to code is much easier than to use drop source. It's just the way I personally feel, and I think drop source is not an easy alternative. I don't like to think of drop source as an alternative to bubble. It's just not so intuitive. Okay, personally speaking. Okay, how do I submit it to the App Store? To the App Store, like, please, this is a standard procedure. I understand it's like a kind of it's not a straightforward procedure. It's not something like you can just download some file and just upload it and then bam, it's done. No, so the procedure is something that every developer has to go through, and the procedure is very similar, and it's just about you being a little careful while entering some pieces of information like your like creating certificates and stuff like that. It's not really complicated. Like it's pretty easy. It's just some like maybe it could be a time consuming process, but it's okay. Okay, like a lot of people have videos on it on YouTube. I would highly recommend you guys to go check out the video. I don't make videos on anything unless and of course I have something like different to offer or different to add onto that subject. So I don't think I have anything different to offer in this area. I guess the other videos on YouTube probably get the job done for you guys. So please go ahead and check that out. Just go search for this on YouTube and you'll find the answer to that. Okay, now this thing is actually a slight mistake. I did make a video on how to create a direct messaging with Bubble. Essentially, when I say direct message, a lot of people were trying to ask me how to create a one-on-one personal messaging feature with those chat bubbles, like those chat windows like on WhatsApp and those Facebook messengers and all of these personal messages. How do you do that? Actually, group messaging is very easy because essentially you don't really need to track uh, like who are in the conversation. Like anybody can come and join the conversation in a group, or you can of course invite people, and you don't really have to. It's not as complicated as creating a one-on-one messaging client. Actually, for one of my clients, I had actually got it done, and the reason for me to not make this video like is because I hacked that project and tried to got it working, but I do not know yet how to explain that project. To be honest with you, it's kind of something that I put on a whiteboard and I tried to figure out how to get this solved. I actually started making the video tutorial like myself. I made a video on that, and then when I watched the video, I couldn't understand what I'm saying myself. So I thought I might as well not post that video. So I didn't post it. So I would highly recommend you guys, if you really want to integrate a chat feature into your Bubble application. There is a link in this video to a very famous set of guys who you might have seen if you are following Bubble, called Zero Code. Okay, now these guys they have a lot of resources related to Bubble, right? They do templates, they offer Bubble development service, they offer development tutorials and stuff like that. So I request you guys to go into their template section. They actually have a template called social network. Now, if you go into that social networking template, they actually have that the chat feature in that template. Now, if you're really serious about integrating that into your applications, I don't think so. It's that expensive. It's pretty cheap. I did try it out. I did check that template out, and there was the chat feature, and I think it ran pretty well. So if you really want to get that feature, go to the link in the description to the Zero Code. It's actually an affiliate link, so that will actually help this channel. So if you buy the template and everything, I really thank you guys for doing so. Um, Again, this is another question or another request that I've been getting, particularly on those Thunkable project tutorials. Okay, specifically the one where I talk about how to create a computer vision driven application using App Inventor /Thunkable. Uh, I received a lot of comments or sort of messages from those college students and university students saying that I have to show this project to my teacher the next day. Can you please send this project so that I can just win a grade? And I said, well, apologies for the noise, by the way. And I said, you know what, especially for projects like Thunkable and App Inventor, I basically make the tutorial and then I don't delete it, but I just don't mind it, so I don't know where those projects are. Some of these projects are deleted. The reason is because these are just drag and drop projects. Okay, these are not as complicated as the Unity projects. In some videos I did mention that I'm available to give you guys the source code to this project. I do have a GitHub profile. If you go into my channel, you can find a link to my GitHub profile. Now I did upload a few of my of the source code to some of my projects like the face pass. But the thing is that some of the projects that I feel, because this channel encourages you guys to create stuff by yourself, so I encourage you guys to create stuff by yourself by following the tutorials, especially for those things that I feel is something you can develop yourself. I have not given the source code intentionally. um, in some cases I have, like especially in the Unity tutorials, I have actually shared some JavaScript files with you guys, and those are the reasons because I am targeting people who want to build stuff and not necessarily to get a job or to get the degree or whatever. My goal is to help you guys create stuff. Okay. I think it's basic, like a Thunkable. Thunkables is pretty simple. It's just you just have to follow my videos. If I was able to do it, I'm pretty sure you guys can do it too. Okay, whatever you see there is absolutely. I don't edit anything out of it. I don't get anything out of editing videos and fooling you guys that something is working when something is not. Okay, I am here to help you guys create stuff, and if I'm going to try fooling you guys out, I don't think you guys would have been giving me the kind of love that I'm getting today. So yeah. So one of the points that I wanna kind of add here to the point where we're talking about um, tutorials. Now, some of the videos that I used to make in the very early days of this channel were videos where I used free tools. Okay, things like, for example, I tried to make videos only on subjects where we don't have to pay to get that tool. Like, for example, I did not make videos, video tutorials on After Effects all that much because After Effects was paid. Okay, I made a lot of videos on Unity. One of the reasons is because I'm a student and I'm a ninth grader. I think I was ninth. I was like 11th grader in high school when I started this channel. I didn't want to invest too much money into something that I knew was just a hobby, but now it is no longer the case. Let me tell you why later on. But when I started this channel, I didn't want to pay for stuff, and it's just kind of the way the Indian system also works. Is that a lot of people here do not pay for apps upfront. Um, like when they see the paid stuff, they just walk away. Okay, because well, that's a different argument by itself. But I don't want to delve into that. But basically, long story short, I didn't used to pay for stuff. But as I progressed and I started making more videos, and I started getting a lot of responses, I had to jump up my game. I have to level up my game, and I had to start making videos for people who are making stuff seriously, like startups and companies and stuff like that. So when I was trying to, not companies, I'm not talking about corporations. I'm talking about people who wanna create stuff to earn money. And if you wanna earn money, you have to invest sort of something. I'm not talking about investing billions of dollars. I'm talking about investing like a few tens or $100. I'm talking about those minimal, like one-time payment. I'm talking about buying a domain that just costs like $11 or $12. It's not that expensive, but I used to be really shy to even spend that. So all my videos back in those days were trying to help you guys build stuff for free. Okay, but it's no longer the case. Some of my videos, especially the ones where I talk about game development, I encourage people to pay for it. Now, when I say people pay, I'm talking about when I say guys, please get a premium version. And the reason I'm recommending that is because I see true value in that, and because now I've grown up into a 23-year-old adult, I believe, is now that I've grown up, and because I have a sense of responsibilities, I do have a lot of need for wealth and stuff like that. So I do want to create wealth. In order to create wealth, I need to invest money, and in order to invest money, I need to look into different ways and creative ways to make wealth. And for that, I had to level up my stuff. So for that, I had to recommend stuff that I found value in. So that's the reason for me to moving from just a free set of tools to this. Now I do want to talk about the kind of evolution of this channel because it's kind of interesting that as well. And this is something that is not specific to me or my channel, but a lot of people say, like, this isn't working for me. You kind of edited some part of the video. You cut the portion that didn't work for you. Now I did cut certain part. I do edit my videos, especially the parts that are repetitive. Now, and the reason I do that is because, well, it just unnecessarily stretches the length of the video, and my videos are already like quite long, like the length of this video. But the reason I kind of edit my videos is to make it look something, like at least some kind of professionalism. So I do want to add that sense of the fact that I'm quite serious about what I do. So I at least make sure the presentation is at least a little decent. But I don't edit videos for the sake of editing them and trying to fool you guys, because I don't think that's gonna do any good for me as well as for you guys, and I don't want that for you. So if something works for me, it should work for you. If it doesn't, well, you probably missed out something. Or probably I'm missing out something, so you can ask me for that. Well, the answer to that question is not to, well, sort of give me some unproductive criticism or something that is not going to be of any benefit for me or for you guys. Now, was stuff something like, well, I don't know stuff just because, well, it's not like I do try to do as much research as I can, not just on the stuff that I'm going to teach you guys or stuff that I'm going to talk about, but even about relevant things related to that subject before I start that subject. Of course, I am not someone who is a superhuman. I pretty much am someone who doesn't know a lot of stuff. So, like, I probably don't know, like, anything. But whenever I make a video, I try to like research on that subject as much as possible. So, if you have any questions, feel free to ask me. If I really don't know, I probably would not answer and mislead you in different directions. I probably will try to at least hint you if I can. And the only way is to not try to not criticize just for the sake of criticizing, or just because you can. You can ask questions. Questions are a lot more productive. It's good for you. It's good for me, because if I don't know, maybe I'll try to learn this and learn that as well. So yeah, just saying that. And I just want to add this point here where, if you guys are watching my old videos, and especially the kind of videos where I'm talking about how to create a Flash website, how to create a Windows software, well, the reality of the fact is that maybe some of these software the tools that that I was using might be obsolete, maybe not available right now. But some of these might be available. Like, you probably can download these tools, but nobody will use them. Like for example, Flash. Okay, nobody has Adobe Flash installed on their web browser. Like iPhone doesn't even support Adobe Flash. So I've stopped making those videos. Of course, I'll never make those kind of videos on Adobe Flash. But the thing is that, well, the technology, at least the kind of content that I make is, before I start making a video, I try to ensure that the video or the kind of content that I'll be sharing with you stays relevant for as long as possible. But the nature of the kind of content that I make is that it will be irrelevant at some point in the future. It's just the way it is. So we can't really help that beyond a certain point. So I just want to add this point that, at some point it will be not as effective. Like for example, you can create a Windows XP software for those people who are having Windows XP, and that will definitely solve the problem for some people if that's exactly what you're looking for. And that's the reason why my videos on those subjects still exist. If for whatever reason you're trying to create a word processing software, and of course, like maybe the kind of tutorial that I have is addressing a very specific kind of a problem, unless then of course that is the case. I think creating a Windows software today will not have the same effect as it used to be, because a lot of people don't use desktop computers these days. That is not to say that I think desktop computers are no longer useful. I don't share that opinion. But again, I personally feel like there are a lot of things that will not be at least as effective as it is probably now in the future. So I just want to add that. Next is, please don't, like, just a kind of request, okay? Please don't post ads on my comments. YouTube doesn't accept comments and spam. Okay, it just gets automatically deleted. It's just a general advice. Just don't waste my time. Just don't waste your time. Okay. Audio quality. This is the biggest, requested stuff. Well, basically, when I started this YouTube channel, I wanted to create something where I could share my knowledge on general technology awareness, how to create some basic stuff, and also teach people how to like create, how to make some basic pocket money off of internet. Because until then, I thought that you could only make like a few, like tens or hundreds of dollars off of internet, and only people like making money schemes and all of those stuff are only things like the people who promote spam used to do. So I wasn't really a believer of that thing until I came across a lot of ways I could do it. I started doing a lot of freelancing, so I thought maybe I should share my knowledge and help others out as well. So that's where this YouTube channel started off. Actually, weirdly enough, it started off with something totally different from where it is now. But anyways, that's just the way it is. So the way it started off is I was inspired by a different kind of YouTube videos. Like back in those days, especially, I was producing more and consuming less. It's just the way it is. Like I was in like 11th grade when I started making videos, and back in those days, I had basically a Windows computer. And before I started this YouTube channel, I used to have two more YouTube channels, and in both of those YouTube channels, I had most videos without any audio. So this is the first channel I made with actually audio itself in it. So the very presence of audio itself was something that was kind of something that I felt was a bonus offering. So when I saw a lot of people saying, "Hey, your audio quality is terrible," like just be dang, I was like, you know what? Just be thankful for the fact that there's even audio in this video. So it just used to be because, well, the kind of channels that I was inspired by did not have audio in the first place. So I thought maybe I was ahead of the curve. Maybe that was the case 6 years ago, 7 years ago. But the kind of videos I'm making now, yes, I do understand that I am definitely way behind in trying to get that. Actually, fun fact, I did buy a mic, and if you actually watch my video 6 years ago and if you watch it now, I think the audio quality has definitely improved. Like at least I feel like it's improved like tenfold, and that has been because of experience. It's not like I invested a lot of money. To be honest with you, I did invest some money that I got off of YouTube, and then I tried to buy a mic, and for some stupid reason, the mic doesn't even work. And I got so pissed. Like I started buying some cheap microphones, because I didn't want to trust and buy another expensive mic, and it just didn't work. I was not able to return it back, and it was just such a piece of crap, and it's just annoying. And I bought a mic that was, I guess it's widely being recognized on YouTube. I'm not sure what's the name of the mic because I just threw it off of my place. So, anyways, I just bought a mic and it didn't work out. So basically, what I tried to do is I tried to not use audio quality as an excuse for not creating content. So for that reason, I did not invest a lot of money into audio as much. But what I'm trying to do in the future is I'm trying to create my entire career off of what I love to do, and YouTube is definitely one of my passion, and at least not YouTube, but what I do on YouTube. Okay, so I like creating content. I like talking about how to create stuff with technology. That stuff is exciting, and I want to continue to do that rather than to get a job just to pay my bills. um, I will first try to help myself, and once I know for myself what works, then I will try to help you guys out. So when I'm trying to help you guys out, I'm just on the way. So once I stabilize myself, I will start investing into resources, and that will definitely gradually improve. And I can definitely say, things will not be the same as it is today in the near future. I hope. Um, and it's just the way it is, and audio quality I hope has improved. I hope it's just at least it's audible and it's clear, but it definitely will improve in the future. Okay, I can't promise, but I am. And this is a sort of unproductive or non-productive criticism. This is what the f is wrong with your voice. Now, these are the kind of people who I used to like. The fun thing I used to do is I used to go to their profiles and check out who these guys are and what are the kinds of content that they're producing or consuming. Most of these guys don't produce any content in the first place. Okay, the people who type these comments are people who have probably have miserable lives and are trying to pull down my life as well. I'm sorry, you're not gonna get any of my attention. Back in those days, I used to like allow negative comments. I do not allow negative comments anymore. Like I don't allow any sort of negativity to prevail on my content. Like you can definitely criticize my content. I welcome criticism, but if you're trying to say things like go try farming or something like that, um, you can try and you can do it, okay, but your comment is definitely going to be deleted, and it's because if your life is miserable, don't try to bring it on others, okay. I'm really sorry. I hope you guys recover, but if you're one of those people who is just infected, please don't bring that on here. I'm just the way I am, and my voice is something I can't change. Okay, it's just innate. Okay. Where did you get the wallpaper? Most of my wallpapers are from Unsplash. Unsplash.com is like the great website you can use to go and get pictures, like high quality pictures, that are non copyrighted, and you can use it anywhere you want. There used to be a website called the paperroll.com. That used to be my favorite place to go get wallpapers. Like so stupid, but they actually discontinued it. This is also a question I receive not mostly on comments, but I get a lot of mails on HazeOS. Now, for those of you guys who don't know what Hazel was, it was a Linux-based OS that I sort of designed and I was distributing at least until the second year of my bachelor's. I sort of had to discontinue it because, well, it wasn't like it took a lot of my efforts, but I wasn't able to make a lot of enough money onto it, and I didn't want to like continue development when I could not give it the amount of attention it deserves. Like I could have continued working on it like part time because definitely I wasn't. As I grew up, when I started Hazel as I was like only about I guess 18 years old or something like that, 18 or 17. So when I was like 20, 20 21, I guess I stopped doing Hazel because No, I think I started Hazel when I was like 15 or so. I'm not sure exactly. Um, Something around 15, 14, like that. And it continued for like 5 years or so. And then I had to stop Hazel's because at some point I felt like I need to start making money, and this is not a kind of place I did. And it's not because I wanted to make per se because of money. It was because, well, in order to sustain this development, if I have to progress the development of this project, if I have to continue this project, I have to continually innovate. And in order to innovate, I need to hire more people, and I have to go on in doing a lot of great stuff. And I think this project does not deserve to exist anymore because there are a lot of people out there who are investing a lot more than I can invest into this project. So for that reason, if it cannot sustain itself in the way it deserves to be, then it doesn't deserve to exist. And for that reason, I made it to cease to exist. And sort of HazeOS probably will not see the day of the light. I did attempt to resurrect this operating system again. I do plan again. I wish I could resurrect HazeOS. Actually, there are still chances you can see HazeOS coming up again. HazeOS 7. If you want to know the code name, it's going to be, well, chocolate brownies. Okay, it's going to be code name chocolate brownies. If at all it says this is the day of the light. I did start developing the project, but I could not finish the project because I did have a lot of other client projects and meetings, and I did have to abandon it a number of times because, well, it it is kind of a project that will see it making revenue very late into the future. So if you guys have any ideas, if you want to like help and support this channel and help me innovate, like help me make the projects that I used to make, then let me know so I can set up a, like, my PayPal again is on the channel. It's paypal.me/Haashir. So you can go to this channel and donate so we can probably get this efforts continuing. So if you can help me focus on, like, if you can get my basic necessities done, like money and stuff like that, I can focus on the more important things. So if you want to help me help support this channel, you can do that as well. So yeah, that's just that. So lastly, I wanted to, not lastly, but yeah, I want to talk about the last couple of videos I've been making are, if you've noticed, this channel, I've been making videos on a variety of subjects. Okay, I tried to move away from just making videos on tutorials on like game development and stuff, and then I started making videos on things like, well, question and answers, like why Linux is not so popular, like how WhatsApp works, how this works, and how to be like that person, like not how to be like a person, but like how is it that this company came to be the way it is. Like, I'm talking about tech companies only, so only all related to the realm of technology. But I did try to shift the focus of this channel to just being nerd, or like people who want to create, I didn't want to create some casual content that you can just sit and watch with your phone or stuff, because most of my content are not something you can watch anywhere else. So I didn't want to create some content like, something that you can just watch off YouTube. Just a YouTube video can serve as a content by itself, so you can gain value out of it, as opposed to my general kind of tutorial videos, which you need to be hands-on in order to get the full value. So some of them work, some of them didn't work, but actually now, in the future, I'm going to, not in the future, but actually in the next month or so, I'm going to start a new series. And this is not an experiment. I tried to experiment a lot of things, some of them didn't work. But the next one is not an experiment. I'm going to talk about what I'm going to do in the future. Actually, it's a new kind of series that I'm making. Uh, that is not to say that I'm going to stop making tutorial videos. Tutorial videos are definitely a part of this channel, but I'm going to start a new kind of videos that are going to be essentially the part of this channel, a heart of this channel, and the kind of content this channel will continue to make. And I'm going to be encouraging a lot of creative questioning and creative projects, as opposed to just making things like, like making predefined projects, like how to create this clone, that clone, and stuff. I'm going to be making stuff that are more open-ended and more creative focused. Okay, so that those are the kinds of videos that I'm moving towards. And then I'm trying to, like, reduce these kinds of content. So, just so you guys know, and that I get mostly from my friends and family, and also from people out there, from strangers who meet me in real life. So the question is, why do I speak with an American accent when I am not an American? For those of you guys out there who haven't figured this out yet, no, I am not an American. No, I do not actually even speak with an American accent. For your information, I do not know the authentic way of speaking in American accent. But the reason for me to speak in this accent, whatever, is number of reasons. For one, it actually started even before I started this channel. But initially, when I started this channel, it was actually a lot worse than it actually is now. But um, this has to do with, even before I started this channel, I used to be following a bunch of channels, and these are some inspiration I got, and the reason I got this inspiration is not because I wanted to pretend like I'm an American, or because I'm not proud of my identity or whatever like that. No, it's not because of any of those reasons. I did openly, say that I'm an Indian. I'm not proud of it. I'm sorry, I'm not ashamed of it. The only reason for me to speak with an American accent is because I want to, like, reach a global outreach. Okay, I don't know if that can make sense to you. And for some of you guys, it might say, "Oh well, you can speak in the Indian accent and still reach our people." Well, sure, you can. That's not really the problem, but actually, this kind of theory might have not worked for some people, but for whatever reason, this actually works. It has actually worked out for me. If I actually check out my viewership, I mean, who are watching my videos, I think India is definitely on. I think it's the first or the second. I think it's the second. The highest number of viewers are apparently from America, and then I think it's India, and then I guess it's Canada. I believe. I think you can check that out from Social Blade, but it's around this thing. It's, for whatever reason, it has actually worked out, and some people, at least it helps me build that relationship with a global user base, as opposed to me just pushing out one kind of identity. It just kind of helps me, and there's actually no other reason. It's like, I don't, like, let me tell you this upfront. Like, I don't speak like this when I speak with my friends. Like, if you meet me in person, I would speak like an ordinary Indian accent. And the reason for that is because when I'm speaking on the video, I am addressing a global audience. And when I'm speaking to someone in person, I'm speaking to someone in person. And I want to speak only to that person. So if it's singular, it will always be in the accent where I represent myself and my culture and everything there. So that is the reason behind the American accent. It's not because I'm ashamed of my identity or any of those stupid reasons that people say they think that I do. It's not because I'm thinking I think of myself as cool or whatever. No, it's not because of any of those reasons. Okay, this I think I've already answered. Where do I live? I'm originally from India, from the southern part of India called Chennai. And actually, I am currently doing my master's in user experience design in I don't know, a little below south of Sweden, in a part called Jönköping. It's about an hour and a half an hour and a half drive from Gothenburg, which is where, by the way, PewDiePie lived, and now he lives in, I guess, in UK. But yeah, that's where his place was, and I actually kind of live close to his place, by the way. Uh, yeah, so I live in. I mean, currently, as of right now, I live in Sweden. But maybe if you're watching this video like a year after, I probably have moved back to India. But I do have a lot of projects that I'm doing with with the people from US, and also from different parts of the world. All thanks to you guys, and yeah, that's it. So basically, what do I do? Like I said, I am a student, but that just actually affects my geography and where I live. But what I actually do is, apart from my student life, of course I make YouTube videos during my free time. but it's actually more than a free time pursuit. So what I did is, some like a lot of people reach out to me through YouTube, and what they've done is they have tried to support me in a number of ways by offering me projects and trying to support me. So the way it kind of worked is like one of them offered me a job and position in their company, and it was really cool because this platform has allowed me to like express myself. If you haven't figured it out already, I'm actually a very introverted person. I don't really talk a lot in public. I just keep a lot of things to myself. I'm pretty selective on when to speak and with whom to speak. So yeah, that's actually just who I am. And basically, I work on a lot of side projects. Now I will talk about what I'm working on in a while, but that's exactly what I do. There's one more question that I forgot to add in the slides, but I think it's the most important question in the whole of in the whole of this video. Is I want to talk about the future of this channel here. Oh, I think I did add a slide. I come to that point. Okay, I think it's the next slide. Anyways, the future of this channel. Well, um, what I'm going to do now is actually after this video, and probably there's going to be one more video. I did promise a few people that I will make one more video on on something I don't want to I don't want to say. It's going to be related to, again, no code app development. But after that video, probably like you'll probably see like a few more videos, and that's it. After that, it will be like the end of a season. And what I mean by end of a season is I'm gonna stop making these kinds of how to create this kind of website or this kind of an app, because I think we have reached the point where now I guess there are lots of tutorials and lots of videos on these kinds of subjects, and I think these tools that we were talking about already do a good job of explaining. Like Webflow has got its place called Webflow University. So if you want to learn these tools, you can go ahead and learn there. So you don't actually need to watch my videos any longer. So the focus is now shifting towards more on the creativity side. So we're gonna look more into how to like solve real world problems and with you guys. And what I mean by that is, for example, we'll learn to build some creative stuff. Like for example, crazy like DIY projects. Like for example, um, we'll learn how like we'll actually discuss in the YouTube comments. Some of these videos will not have the direct answers. Like it's not like I'm showcasing my project, and some of these I've actually attempted to do it myself, but I also want to share you guys, and you can also make some of you can add your own ideas. It's not like you can, I think you should. Basically, there are going to be a lot of videos where I'm going to share a couple of ideas on how we can probably reduce the waste in oceans, or how we can uh, filter I mean, how we can make the trash cans in the developing countries better, how we can make better use of the trash, how we can make the introverts like communicate better with the strangers and more build relationships more easily, how we can help autism, how we can help depressions, how we can like some of the big problems we're going to try tackling those with technology. You see, one of the things that a lot of people do is, like for instance, there's some problem, people talk about it, and talking about it is like what the problem is I mean it's basically awareness. Like for example, if you see like a power cut or like there's a lot of power shortage in a specific area, there's actually the news. The first thing they do is they report that to you, and that's the first step. But they don't actually talk about what we can do actually to solve the problem. So people are sharing the problems, and that's just the first step. I mean, the problem is, I mean, awareness is just the first step. But I personally believe that the world will be a better place if if we were talking about what we can do to make it better. And I think that is not something that a lot of people are doing. Is I guess we are definitely talking about like straight away ideas without thinking about what the problem is. or we're talking about problems and not thinking about the solutions. So there is a tremendous mismatch between these two things, and that's what this channel is going to try to address after this point. So as you can see here, I'm trying to change the whole focus of the channel, and that's because that's how the time is now. It's because we're going to try to change the whole direction of this channel to to a place where we can all build something crazy. Now, wait, hold on for a second. When I say we're gonna talk about issues, this channel is not gonna become like a news channel. No, we're not gonna talk about. Well, like I said, the problem with news is that they're just gonna scare the hell out of you. They're just gonna say Venezuela has this problem, that problem, these problems. Well, we're gonna talk about solutions here. We're gonna spend a little time talking about what the problem is, and I'm gonna propose my solutions. But hey, I'm just 23-year old, and because I've studied because I practice user experience, my sort of profession teaches us that there is no such thing as the right answer. So I want to like learn about your culture, and I want to like reach out to different people of different cultures and try to solve different kind of problems. Because yeah, I'm from India, and I did study in Scandinavia, which is like, polar opposites, because Scandinavia is kind of a very rich culture. I mean, a very rich society. It's not so populated as opposite. But I come from India, which is the exact opposite. It's an extremely populated country with with a lot of pollution, definitely. It's a definitely populated country, and we have a different set of problems here in India as opposed to Scandinavia. But I have not been to countries like I've not been to places like Africa or North America, so I don't know what the problems are in those areas, as opposed to the places I've been. Okay, so that's the reason why I want to start this platform, and that's why I want to actually, make this, something online, and so that we can, like, online on the web, so that we can talk about these issues from where you are. I mean, we could definitely go visit these places in like 2 3 days and try to address them. It'll look cool, but I want to connect with people who live in those areas and try to solve those problems. Not just me, but everybody alone. So if we have the answer to the problem that you have, um, in your place, we can try to address those. And ideas are just, the starting point, the kind of the trigger, and our job is to provide that trigger, but you guys are going to make that thing a reality. So yeah, so other stuff I'm working on is, well, it's the same thing that I just mentioned, but I'm also like, YouTube is what the tagline or the slogan of YouTube is: broadcast yourself, which means there's one person who's gonna talk, and definitely I'm gonna connect you with you guys on YouTube, where you're gonna comment on my videos, or you're gonna probably participate on Instagram, or we're probably gonna do live streaming and all of that. Sure, but that definitely is not going to be a place where you and I will be equal. Like, I will be talking in a video and you'll be typing on a text, which is not the same, right? So I'm building a platform which is specifically meant for problems solving and ideas, and for makers who can talk about problems, and who can solve these ideas. I think in the future, I don't know if you've heard of this guy called Naval Ravikant. It's Naval on Twitter. If you go follow him, he's a very intelligent, and a really smart investor, and an entrepreneur, who has one of his famous sayings is that everybody can be rich in this world, and everybody can be rich, and the only way we can do that, and the only way we can solve problems, is the first step is to like get rich. And basically, my goal is not to help you get rich. My goal is to help you solve problems. Now, the only way you can solve problems is when you have solved your own problems first. And for that, in order to do that, well, uh, we're going to be talking about, first we're gonna like that. That's the reason why I have this channel, and that's the reason why I'm asking for your help. Is, if you guys are gonna support my initiatives, well, we can progress together, and we can build a platform where we can solve each other's problems. So I think that would be an amazing place to be in. And this kind of platform doesn't exist. You can probably think of it as a Spotify for problem solvers, or Spotify for makers, or something like that. So it's kind of that platform that I'm making. Uh, it's going to be a place specifically for that. It will be a place where it's specifically meant for that. So it will have. It is definitely a web platform. I will announce it when it's ready. Follow me on Twitter and on Instagram and on Product Hunt if you want to. And yeah. So guys, I just want to like add one last thing before I end this video. Um, there's one there's one kind of emails that I receive not so often, but I feel really guilty for not having the ability to respond to those emails. I receive emails like, especially the kids, right? I hear emails from people's parents where they say, I'm sorry, the children's parents where they say, hey, our kids follow your tutorials, and he actually, I don't know, he loves those videos, and they're from some remote part of this world, and they want my help with something, and unfortunately, I'm not able to respond to those questions. Because probably I don't know how to help you guys, but like, of course, I could definitely dedicate time to help you, but unfortunately, I do have a full time school as well, and to give you individual attention, I do need to get paid for it, and of course, I could charge for it, but uh, like the way it works is like, if you guys support me in the same way I could support you, it will be a better place, and it will be something that you and I can be happy with. So, unfortunately, for some time, because I have a full time school, it's difficult for me to like give attention to every single one of them. Although I wish I could respond to every one of you guys. Now, there's another kind of category of people whom I will never respond. Okay, now, like, I would highly encourage you guys, if you have any projects and you really want to work with me. I did mention I created a project called Venturious, and the very purpose of that project was to help others and myself collaborate with other like-minded people. Now, I did mention like-minded people, but if I do not agree with you being a like-minded person, I will probably not collaborate with you. If I do not respond to your sort of collaboration email, there are a lot of people who email me saying that, hey, I'm gonna start an app and I want to get you on board with a 50-50 partnership. Guys, it doesn't work that way, okay? because well, we're because I have reached a certain point. Like, I'm not a kid anymore. Like, I do. We have to talk uh, a little bit on a mature terms, and we're gonna talk about. You have to like really talk about your plans and how you intend to support me and how you intend me to support you. So, talk a little bit on those terms. Talk a little bit about yourself. Okay, when you're talking about, like, especially when you want to work with me, and I'm talking about people who want to collaborate with me on their project. I'm specifically talking about those people. I'm not talking about people who want to hire me, because I'm like, that's a different thing altogether. But I'm talking about people who want to work with me. If you want to work with me, like, you want to be my partner on some projects, please be sure to talk about yourself, because if you don't talk about it, you're completely going to be ignored, because I'm interested in people who can be transparent. If you're going to be like the anonymous jerk, I'm sorry, I'm just going to completely ignore you, and that's just the way it is. And like, it's safe for me and it's safe for you to know each other, and I want you to know I'm more interested in you as a person than in the idea that you're gonna pitch me. And it's not like I'm interested to date you or whatever. It's like I'm interested because I want to know the kind of person I am going to be working with. That is going to be a very important factor in the long term, especially when there are going to be turbulent times and difficult times in the project. I have experience with this, and that's why I wanted to get this across, especially to those people who are proposing collaboration with me. So, if you want to work with me on projects, be sure to introduce yourself. Please be if you want to talk to me like a human. Don't talk to me like a robot. Like, don't say, no, this is my idea and blah 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 blah. And then just leave everything for like investigation. I'm not going to take the time to like read about you on Wikipedia or whatever. Okay, that just is just it's I don't have like infinite amount of time to do that. So, in the end of the day, guys, please be kind and please be respectful to each other. And you know what? I'm really sorry for not being able to respond to every one of you guys individually. There's also low battery popping on the top right corner, as you can see, but that's not a problem. I'll get that across. Just plug in the battery and it's gone. So that's it, guys. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you like this video, please be sure to hit thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and we shall see you guys. I should see you guys in another video, in the next video very soon. Thank you guys for watching.